So I got onto the podcast. I was talking to somebody who I'm really grateful that I have a few people who on a regular basis now listens to my podcast. It's quite encouraging. I got onto this podcast, whole thing was due to the fact that it was an opportunity I had. I got access to the studio. A couple of friends were happy to support me and go along. Me trying to reinvent myself, gain a bit more confidence. And so I got into doing podcasts. Anyway, I do have a few people who regularly jump on my podcast and they encourage me and they listen to me. And I've got good feedback. I've got bad feedback. The feedback that I shouldn't call it bad feedback. Critical feedback. And one of the things that was said and observed that a couple of podcasts ago, somebody who listens to me now on a regular basis says, Neil, your stutter surfaces. And I said, really? And they were like, no, when I speak to you one-on-one, and this was an observation made by a couple of people on the second or the third podcast. And anyway, so when I speak to you face to face, I don't get the stutter. But a couple of podcasts ago, when I was listening to the podcast, there was a stutter, and you stuttered quite a bit, and your speech was quite raised. And I was going, oh, okay, probably it's to do with subconsciously, my nerves could be getting the better of me on occasions. Maybe I'm trying to wrap up the podcast in within 10 to 15 minutes. Sometimes the podcast does go over, which may be contributing to my stutter and stammer. But I said that is quite interesting because I need to be able to know as to why I am now stuttering and stammering, and which I'm placing focus on, because I know how stressful it is when I've experienced young, old people who have an issue with stutter, who have difficulty talking. And it can be so horrible, especially when you're trying to communicate a thought. And you have to also now be quite focused on your speech, that it tends to get the better of you and it tends to stress the individual out. But that being put aside, the conversation actually also went towards how are we meant to be kind when there are so many cruel people around us, when there are so many mean people around us. I mean, you walk into the corporate world and your friends pretend to be your friends, but they're just there because you serve a purpose, and that's all there is to it. And how are we able to change our personalities and be better human beings if majority of the people around us are just looking to extract and really give back? And this is why I said to the person, I said, see, I've experienced that myself. I've been a part of the corporate world, and I don't think it's the best space, to be quite honest. But what I encourage you to do is, when you walk out of those environments, make sure that the people you then include in your group of friends are people of value, people who are substantial human beings, and people who are contributing to your life emotionally and physically, and they basically add value to it. So they're not simply in your presence because they need to sort of waste time or fill a void in their lives, but they are in your life because they are able to contribute to your life in a very positive way. And I said, it is very essential. There are going to be, moments, and there are going to be people who are simply going to be there to extract. Okay. And I'm not saying for you to just, turn the other cheek when somebody is rude or mean. Try to understand where they're coming from. If all they're coming from is a space of selfishness, if what they are doing is the reason why they are in your company is because you are able to give and you can give, and therefore they are exploiting that kindness, that's when you turn around and tell them to bugger off. Okay, you all not necessarily, in those words, but take them away from your life. You know, don't indulge in their company, because what that will do is that will tarnish how you look at the rest of the world. That will take you away from the people who genuinely need your kindness. Those people who generally need you as a person to be in their lives. So be quite mindful. There are going to be, once again, I'm not saying kindness, don't make kindness your weakness. Don't make kindness your weakness. Make sure that you are aware of yourself. You are aware of your environment. You are aware of how much you can give to a person or to people. Don't let people take advantage. What my conversations are, and what me telling you to focus on is to focus on the fact that we need to be better human beings. We need to be able to set expectations. We need to be able to allow people to look at us, admire us, and learn from us. Now, those people who you want to basically attract have to be kind people as well, have to be people who are genuinely looking to learn from your experiences, who are genuinely wanting to be human beings with good morals and good standards and good principles. As I said in the past, there are going to be awful human beings. And those are the people that you've got to be mindful of and you've got to stay away from. So when we were talking about kindness, when we were talking about being better, being good and being kind within reason, being good and being kind to those who deserve your kindness, those who deserve your charity, those who deserve your time, not for people who are just in your life to extract. I know, I've experienced those people. And those are the people that I no longer, I'm very cautious of. And I no longer, how can I say, I try to be really cautious of their existence. And I try to be very cautious of the conversations they have with me. I try to be very mindful of what they give back. And when I see that I don't receive, and I'm not talking about receiving money is concerned or gifts are concerned, when I don't receive the same kindness back or the same authenticity, then what I do is I simply walk away from them, because those people need to bugger off. Those people are parasites, and they are distracting me from who I genuinely want to become. And if I keep surrounding myself with people like them, then what will happen is I will be distracting or taking myself away from genuine goodness. And I am extremely mindful of that. And that's the reason why a lot of the times I'm not saying I am, I'm a saint in any shape or form. I have a lot of flaws and I'm working through those flaws. And I am extremely mindful of the wrongs I have done in my life. I'm exceptionally grateful to the people who have shown me a good path. And those are few and far between, but I deliberately look out for people who are genuinely nice and who are genuinely caring and who are genuinely giving, not expecting anything in return. So the conversation went, you've got to change your friends. You've got to change the people you hang out with. You've got to change your association. Yes, in the corporate world, unfortunately, whereas companies and organizations are concerned, where the competitive world is concerned, it is a big bad world. And you've got to be able to, once you walk out of that environment, you've got to then know that, okay, that environment I've left behind, the environment that now I'm living in and truly living in, I have to make sure that I'm surrounding myself with goodness. I'm surrounding myself with quality people who actually enhance my life, enhance me emotionally. And that's how the conversation went. We have to be mindful of the people around us. We have to be mindful of who we give and who we take from. And we have to build our core. And I've spoken about this in my past as well in a couple of podcasts ago, that we have to strengthen our core. We have to be mindful of the environment we are in. So I wish you all the best, and I hope we are living life well, and just make sure that we are spreading love, we are spreading kindness, because there is a lot of bad in the world, and we need to make sure that we win, or we gain victory over, over horrible people, or we are able to change. Okay, maybe not. Maybe we are able to change or convert the bad to good. And that's when we will win more people over. That's when the world will look greener, the ocean will look bluer, the skies will look bluer, the people around us will look nicer. So encouraging the bad to convert the bad into good. And that's what we need to focus on. Anyway, folks, you take care, look after yourselves, be well. I'm sending you positivity and good vibes in your direction.